Welcome to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Every day, the world is becoming more godless and demonic. An example of this is Converse rebranding and marketing their entire style by partnering with a guy named Rick Owens. And if you don't know who Rick Owens is, the guy is a complete... And if you look at the shoe just from a quick glance, it doesn't look like there's anything obvious that they changed. But remember, the devil is in the details. Double Dark Star, that's a very interesting name, but look at this logo right here. This is part of the photo shoot for the advertisement, clearly demonic. Obviously they're trying to market a different look, and now here's the details. Look at that star right there upside down. You can see the star right here, and there it is right there. And I get it, the first response from a lot of people is we're just gonna go ahead and boycott the brand, we're not gonna wear any more Converse. The reality is, my friend, if you look at every single evil that's happening in the world, there's no escaping it. It's in everything. It's in all of our food. It's in all of the branding. It's in all of the governments. The evil is everywhere.
This is exactly why I feel like it's so important to be constantly looking into this stuff. It's literally been less than 60 days since the last time I purchased a pair of Converse. I don't personally wear them, but they're popular amongst teenagers, and I have 3 of those. If I didn't know about this, I might have walked into Payless in a few months and given my 13-year-old permission to buy a pair of shoes that were clearly designed to glorify Satanism. And I feel like this is a little worse than the typical dark marketing that we see from these other elitist fashion brands. This is a brand that's purchased by the working class, and it's a brand that's highly popular amongst children. I know he's saying it's pointless to boycott this stuff, but they won't be getting any more of my money in the future, even if they stop this campaign. I know who they really are now.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing? What's with the 5515 thing? What's with the CIA code to kill pain? I saw it a while back, and honestly, I didn't think much of it. And then I just saw a video today of a woman whose child was using it. And I was like, well, that's silly, but like, why not? Because I have tendonitis in my elbow. So I did it, and it worked immediately. And I thought, well, that's lucky. Coincidence. I tried it again later, and it worked immediately. So then I just went out to my husband and said, I know this sounds crazy, but you have to try this. So my husband has chronic pain all over his body. And he's like, okay. So he closed his eyes. And what you do is you visualize the part of your body that's having pain, and you just say the code 5515, 55515, 3515. He opened his eyes and he was like, it's definitely less. And I was like, right? And he was like, what is that? I was like, I don't know. But also, this is why I'm in my question everything era. We've been duped, y'all. Oh, we've been so duped.
I can't believe it, but I had forgotten all about this. I remember when I first came across this was about a year ago when I was making one of these videos, and it was at a time when I was experiencing some pretty severe and nearly constant lower back pain from a permanent back injury that I'd gotten from work. I remember trying this whenever I first read about it, and I remember experiencing significantly noticeable relief. I think I may have even mentioned something about it here on the channel, and it may be the constant changing of topics that I subject myself to with the way that I make these videos, but for some reason I just never thought about this again. But I almost wonder if this is some sort of super placebo effect or something. Like maybe because it's in a declassified CIA document, everyone assumes it's some secret pain relief technique that the government figured out, so they assume it'll work, therefore causing the placebo effect. What are y'all's theories as to how this works? And probably more intriguing, how in the world do y'all think they even figured this out?
Lady was on live.
Yeah.
And she said that a skinwalker pretended to be her dog. So this is what she did. This lady's on live with around 500 people.
Yeah.
Right? And she's saying, oh, this is not my dog. This is not my dog. And I'll prove it. She's like, okay, dog, sit. The dog sits, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, turn around, spin around. The dog spins around. And then she's like, okay, lay down. And then the dog lay down. She says on her live, she's like, everyone, this is not my dog. You know why? Because my dog is new. He doesn't know any of these tricks.
Merlin, sit. Turn around. Turn around. Lay down. You're not my dog. My dog don't know how to do no trick.
So she locks herself in the room, and the dog's just looking at her like this, like he's understanding the shit that she's saying. So she locks the room. She calls the police while she's on live.
On the dog.
Yeah, on the dog, because she's getting freaked out. This is at night. So she's in her room on the thing. She locks herself in the room. Waits like an hour or so, right? Mm-hmm. Unlocks the door. The dog kind of like jogs in. He's like going around. He's looking at her.
Yeah.
Fam, The dog goes into the closet, right? And then she grabs her flashlight.
Yeah.
She's like, guys, watch this. Look, why is he going in the closet and just not exiting my room? She puts the flashlight on. You can see a face. So the skinwalker transformed from the dog to an actual face. Oh, yeah.
Blood clot, dude. It was the dog.
Oh, you see that? Look, I pause it. Look, you see that? What the? Damn, you see a face.
I think there are so many things in this video that point to it just being an irrational person held a live stream and did irrational things. They claim that they just bought this dog. That's not one of those breeds that people typically give away for free. So the odds that that dog has had some sort of training are pretty high. And if the lady didn't know that her dog could do all these tricks, why did she start giving it commands in the first place? And they say that she called the police on this dog, which may not be true because I didn't see any evidence of that in the video. But even if that wasn't her dog, you just open the door and let it out. Now you have a weird story to tell about how a stranger's dog ended up in your house somehow. You don't call the police. I could understand if it was a growling pit bull or something, but that thing looked like an overstuffed Beanie Baby. How much danger did she really think she was in? And that shot of the closet there at the end, I couldn't even make out anything that looked like a face. I don't know what they were talking about. Hey, don't forget to click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
Oh, and here's the thing. In the flat earth community, there's people like, don't talk about more land. You know, you can prove the earth is flat. We can prove the earth is flat right here from everything that we can reach and test and measure ourselves. What's beyond Antarctica is speculation, but there's lots of evidence that there's more land beyond the shoreline of Antarctica.
So you're saying that, like, okay, wait a minute. So it's like a pie, and Antarctica is the pie crust?
Well, it's not just the crust. Imagine a lake 100 miles across in the middle of Kansas, okay? And at the center of that lake is a magnetic mountain, a mountain made from a magnet, just a magnetic mountain. So no matter where you are on that lake, your compass will point to the middle of the lake. You with me? Mm-hmm. So south is every direction away from the middle. So south, if this is the middle, south is that way, and south is that way, and south is that way, because the compass will always be pointing towards the middle. East and west are circles around the middle. East and west are circles. This is the Gleason's map that used to be in all of the textbooks and encyclopedias and libraries, and they removed it, right? So if you go east and west, you can go right all the way around, maintaining your east or west direction, and then end up right back where you started from, right? If you walked around your neighborhood, does that make your neighborhood a sphere? No, you're just walking around it. If the center of your neighborhood was the North Pole, the compass would point to the north.
Right. No, it makes sense. But what compass are you talking about? Any compass will do this?
Any compass. A compass points towards
north.
a magnetic force coming out of our north. If you got a table, get like a nice strong neodymium magnet, put it on a table, draw a big circle around it, and put a compass near it. That's going to take over. It's going to be stronger than the magnetic pole, and your compass will point towards that. And try to push that compass west. You're going to have to keep turning to maintain a west heading, because if you go straight, you're going to be going away from that magnet, and the north will be that way, and the
because
south.
It's on a different plane. That makes
you're just going to go straight.
It finally just clicked in my head how the flat earth community views the functionality of a compass. I think that is an absolutely fascinating idea. I also just discovered another inconsistency with the historical narrative. Looking up the oldest known compass, China invented one in 206 BC. So mankind has been aware of the effects of the poles and likely their usefulness for navigating for a long time now. The black rock that we see on all of our old maps may actually be what all of our compasses point to. I find it so hard to jump on board the flat earth train, but at the same time, there are just so many things that don't add up. Things that, if I'm being honest with myself, would best be explained by a stationary, flat, non-rotating earth. And I know that they lie to us about nearly every aspect of human space exploration. I know that they feed us propaganda with computer-generated images and stuff that they try to pass off as legitimate photos. I know the moon landing was faked, and I believe with every fiber of my being that there is something being hidden on the other side of that ice wall that would change the entire world if it were to be revealed. But as much as I distrust NASA, I guess they've just put out so much propaganda over the years, I literally cannot imagine the world being anything other than a spinning ball. I kind of feel stuck on this issue.
So I was mowing the yard yesterday, and Seen this little square patch of grass. It's never been here before. It's dead. When I drove over it, it kind of sank. And I came over here with the shovel and tapped on it. Get a little closer. It's some kind of door. I've been here 22 years and this has never been here before. So I really don't know what to think about it. But about 1944 there was a old cabin here that burnt down, and it may be some kind of well or storm cellar or something. I may dig it up if enough people show any kind of interest in it and want to know what it is. I particularly don't know if I want to, because this house on the internet is being haunted. We've heard an old couple talking and seen a little girl, and the people have stopped passing by and said a little girl's walking around the pond and there ain't nobody there. I do not believe in all that crap, but years after all this stuff was going on, my sister looked it up online, and the cabin that burnt down, a old couple and their granddaughter died in a fire, and that kind of freaked me out, because like, what are the odds? And this was years after all this stuff was going on. So kind of superstitious about opening this thing, but if y'all want to know what it is, I will open it up. So let me know and have a good day. Well, it wasn't easy, but it's open. I don't know if it's an old septic or an old well. It's way out here in the field away from everything, but I had about a 15-foot stick of conduit. I stuck it down in there and couldn't touch the bottom. And I do have an old pump. I'm gonna stick in there and pump all the water out and see what in the world is down there. There's no telling, as long as it ain't an old septic. I see what y'all think. If anybody knows, let me know. But that's what it was. Had no idea it was here, so now y'all know. You guys just had to have me open the well. That's my room. I keep hearing something under the house. I thought I did last night. I was very tired. I forgot I got an old crawl space. Come on, man. Don't be a sissy. I'm looking here. Oh my God. Oh my God. What the? Nope. Not here. That's your fault, TikTok. Hell no. That's bull. I don't believe in that. You know the history of this house. Ugh. Nope. I'm gonna go to the gas station parking lot. I don't even want to go back in there. That freaked me out. Oh. Yeah. I'm not going back over there. Oh, look at that. That is the creepiest freaking sound I've ever heard in my freaking life.
I feel like this guy's just trying to make a creepy video. His story at the beginning of the video was clearly just a bunch of bullet points he wanted to hit, but he failed to rehearse beforehand. He says he doesn't believe in ghosts, then he says the place is haunted. Then he says he'll open this hatch if enough people are interested in it, but he doesn't really want to do it because he's superstitious. He says he's been living there for 22 years, but he's never noticed that hatch before. In 22 years of yard mowing, you've never noticed that hatch on the ground? I find that hard to believe. Then this guy says he forgot he had a crawl space, then opens the door to the crawl space and immediately hears a growling sound. And the guy instantly assumes that the growling sound is somehow associated with the well that he dug up in the yard the day before. Other than both events being filmed by the same guy, there is literally nothing tying them together. And the way the guy was acting at the end of the video just reminded me of somebody who's trying to hype up the situation and make it a bigger deal than it actually is. I think this guy's just trying to get some views on TikTok.
This video is insane. Have you seen it?
Get this. Scientists in Russia have confirmed that they now know what happens to you after you die. I'm not talking about your body. That's just worm food. We all know that. I mean, your spirit, if you like, your consciousness. I read it on the Russian version of Google last night called Yandex. I don't know why this is not all over media right now. I've not slept a wink. So, if you don't know, Russia's largest tech company, Vladtech, have spent the last 10 years creating an interface to your brain that somehow embeds a code into every atom of you. So when you die, they can then locate that code within you, and it's like an Apple AirTag, but on a more expensive, grander level. So they can basically see where your electricity, spirit, and memories go to. And they call it a SIC code, soul identity code or something like that. And what they discovered was mind-blowing.
I'll stop it there, but essentially he ends by saying that they found a signal in a different galaxy that's like 100 billion light years away. I've been seeing this video everywhere and we need to talk about it. This thing got so much engagement. People are talking about how it's legit, how it's not legit. While it sounds cool that they can embed code into every cell like an Apple AirTag, let's think about that. Or even when he talks about the signal being found in a galaxy 100 billion light years away. If nothing moves faster than the speed of light within this reality, how long would it take to receive that signal? This Vlad Tech company out of Russia, just go Google, does Vlad Tech exist? And that's my point. Like, this video has been shared so much. I have seen it on TikTok. I have seen it on Twitter. I have seen it on Instagram. It just takes a simple going to his profile to see short stories, the narcissist, the pathological liar, Jim Bob. People are asking like AI, like, hey, is this true? You don't need to outsource to AI. You just need to ask yourself, does this sound true? If it doesn't sound true, maybe go to the profile, click on it and see who is talking about this. Media literacy, media literacy. We don't fall for hype and emotion. We stay balanced. We listen to intuition. I love you guys. There is so much nonsense out there. You need to stay balanced so you can listen to truth.
And here is a great reminder to always do a little digging when you hear someone making an outlandish claim. I think stuff like this is awesome though. It's all in good fun. The guy presents it as true, which does trick people, but he's clearly identified himself as a storyteller on his profile. I think stuff like this is cool because it gets people thinking, it gets conversation going. People start thinking about the ethics of stuff like this, and even though it's fake, this may be the one thing that grabs someone's attention and gets them to start digging and researching things, eventually leading them to the truth. If you want a good laugh though, go find this video and look at the comments. There is some comedy gold in there.
Zoomed in on things that should be behind 60 feet of curvature or more, and I could see them. So I immediately defaulted to, well, the Earth is just bigger. The curvature formula is wrong. And then when I went and verified these things, we can see too far. And then everything else started falling into place. Like, water needs to be contained. What the science of water is, water at rest lies flat, and it needs to be contained. A pond, it has a shoreline that's higher than the water, right? Lower some of that shoreline and the water will flow away because it needs to be contained. So the world is like a big pond. All of the oceans of the world, think of it as a pond. All of the continents, think of them as just islands. And what's containing our pond? Well, the highest land on Earth, by more than double the next average height of any continent, is Antarctica. Antarctica is more than double the height of any other continent on average. So Antarctica is the shoreline around our world.
Well, how do you explain when they go up in space and look down and the Earth is a globe?
Yeah. So NASA admits they don't have any photos of Earth. They say they're all put together in composite. The one picture that showed up was called, on everyone's iPhone, when the iPhones came out, was called the Blue Marble. And Robert Simon, who's a NASA visual artist, explained in an interview that he made it all from data. And he used Command Z a lot. And he stamped clouds in there using the same clouds multiple times. And he literally made it in Photoshop. And he admits it. NASA admits they don't have any real photos of Earth other than one that was taken from the moon in 1972 or whatever year it was, and that's called the Blue Marble. I forget what they call that one, but we took that picture that NASA took right off their website, we put it into Photoshop, and we cranked up the levels, and the Earth had a box around it, like it was cut and pasted right in there from NASA's website. Yeah.
Well, why would they want us to believe that it's round?
There we go. We're already there. That's a very good question. That's where we all default to. And we'll get into that more. But the reason they want you to believe you live on a ball is because they're hiding who we truly are. They're hiding more resources. Think about this. Every war, what is that about? Land, resources, power.
reports.
Right? What if there's more land?
This is a good example of what I mean. This is exactly why I can't just let it go. If the Earth is a globe and we know that to be a fact, it must be because someone has seen it. Otherwise, it's a hypothesis with a bunch of supporting data, no different than the flat Earth theory. But the only visible evidence we've been given of the Earth was faked. And it didn't just happen once that we were given a faked photo of the Earth. It's happened multiple times. They just keep getting proven to be Photoshop concoctions over and over again. And now we've reached the point where our Hollywood movies are giving us a more realistic depiction of what our planet looks like than what NASA gives us. And so I feel like we're past the point of ever being able to believe anything from them again. CGI has become nearly indistinguishable from reality, and NASA missed their opportunity to repair their public image before that happened. We simply can't trust them. I feel like a person just can't help but to question everything.
What if the Mandela effect could actually be proven? The Mandela effect is a phenomenon where millions of people remember past events differently from what they originally happened. For instance, the Monopoly guy using a monocle. A lot of people remember him using a monocle, but apparently he never did. If you search it up, you'll see he never did. The same thing with this video. A lot of people remember the reporter being blonde.
Please. I mean, I love our chances. You know, it's been
The thing is, there are a couple of people capturing the Mandela effect on camera, and it's the case with the thought police, who has been using an old phone to see somehow through a parallel dimension. This is what he recorded from the same video. You can see there, she's blonde. Officially, she was never blonde, but ChatGPT remembers Emily Austin actually being the woman from this commercial. So, this is where things get even stranger. A YouTube account captured the Mandela effect happening live. Check this out.
I hung this thing up. I got it a long time ago. My cousin painted that picture. It used to be hanging over here. I've decided to move it over there. Put this over here just for the hell of it. I'm only bringing this up because until I had done those two things, things were normal inside of this room right here. So it's the night I did this, it was just a couple nights ago, that really weird stuff started to happen in that room, and things, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was seeing stuff, so I'm doing this video so you guys can see, and I'm gonna show it to you live. This book, this is one of my nephew's books. I'm going to show you, as I pass through this doorway, what happens, and it's weird. Alright, it happens when it gets in the room. See it? And then back out here, normal. Yeah. Yeah. And then normal. This just creeps me out, man.
I've seen these videos of the guy showing stuff through his phone several times, and I've always wondered how he pulled that off. I think I figured it out on that video of the reporter and the baseball player. Just to be clear, I also remember that reporter being a white lady with blonde hair. But I think the way he's pulling off this effect is he's just simply adjusted the brightness on the phone to make her hair appear brighter. If this were really showing a window into an alternate reality like he claims, the hairstyle and the face would be different, not just the hair color. But if you slow it down and go frame by frame, you can clearly see that's what he's done. That's the same lady in both videos. He's just adjusted the brightness on his phone. The clip at the end there with the Berenstain Bears book, did he say that happened live? That can't be true. This has to be video editing. How would this guy have even discovered this?
Jacques Vallée has been a central figure in UFO research and debate for more than 6 decades. He's often been at odds with UFO orthodoxy, was among the first to argue that the unknown craft seen for centuries in our skies and oceans may not be from other planets, but from other realities. He's heard the demands for an end to official secrecy many times, and at the same time has participated in secretive efforts himself, including a UFO study launched by the Defense Intelligence Agency in 2008 and hidden inside a Las Vegas aerospace company. One focus of the DIA's OSAP effort was and is genuinely disturbing: the real-life health consequences for humans who come into contact with UFOs. Hundreds of serious injuries have been documented. OSAP investigators traveled to Brazil to obtain government files related to hundreds of Brazilians treated for injuries after being targeted by UFOs. Dr. Valet won't discuss specific OSAP files except for cases he provided to the database, injuries which he says were not accidental.
So I can tell you that in my files, some of which I contributed to the database, there are at least half a dozen well-documented cases where the injuries that resulted in death were deliberate.
Incidents in which UFOs deliberately cause physical harm to humans are rare, according to personnel who have seen the full OSAP files, but they do occur. Dr. Colm Kelleher, one of OSAP's managers, has said bluntly that UFOs are bad for human health. Could that be a reason to keep secrets? If there is some kind of non-human intelligence here, the secrecy starts with them. But governments, in particular the U.S. government, have created multiple other levels of secrecy.
You know, the atomic secrecy, primarily, which most people in the Pentagon are not cleared for, and then the military secrecy and the strategic secrecy, and then the diplomatic secrecy.
In Dr. Valet's most recent book, Forbidden Science, Scattered Castles, he shares private exchanges with colleagues from the OSAP program, including Las Vegas billionaire Robert Bigelow and a close-knit group of scientists nicknamed the Lone Stars. The scientists, some of them former CIA contractors, accept that the U.S. government has recovered crashed vehicles of unknown origin, that defense contractors have worked for decades to reverse engineer that technology at secretive facilities in the desert and elsewhere. They say adversary nations have done likewise. The race to duplicate that technology means national security is at stake. Valet favors transparency, but worries that an official declaration could prove chaotic.
So if we want to disclose, even disclose something as simple as saying, yes, we acknowledge the phenomenon, and it seems to be from space, we would have to, once you do that, you have to answer 100 other questions. This is not the end. This is not the end of the story.
While Dr. Valet is encouraged by the renewed interest in UFOs within Congress, mainstream media, and academia, he thinks someone needs to craft a well-planned strategy for how to unleash what would likely be the biggest news story in history.
I think we should disclose, but we should disclose with a structure, and the structure hasn't been invented yet.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Get ready, everybody. It looks like the rollout is coming. The government-ran media is running exposés on what questions we should be asking when it's revealed to us by our overlords that the aliens are actually real. And they have evidence to suggest that they have the capability to physically harm people, and examples of them doing it intentionally. It sounds to me like they're starting the groundwork for the false flag alien invasion story. That news report was easing everyone into the idea that the aliens are real, while simultaneously telling everyone that you should be scared of them. This sounds like classic propaganda to me. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back soon with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com. And don't forget to drop a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.